In the September 2025 release of Home Assistant, they made some significant improvements to the tile cards, and they also created what they're calling now the Home Dashboard. The Home Dashboard, they hope, is to be the default dashboard in the future for people who just start out with Home Assistant and want a nice dashboard just to be ready to go when they want to use it. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the Home Dashboard and talk about some of the features of the tile cards in this video, so let's get started. One of the things that Home Assistant wants to do is create dashboards that are easy to use, fast to set up, and get you going into Home Assistant quickly. They're trying to do that now with this thing they call the Home Dashboard. It's an iteration on the number of other dashboard changes they've made recently to make all of the user experience a whole lot better. And you've seen some of my other videos on some of the dashboards. Let's get right into the Home Dashboard and talk to you a little bit how it works. Again, it's not something that's going to be by default. It won't show over here by default. You have to create it first, at least in the experimental stage. Later on, it might be a default dashboard, but for now, it's not. So to do that, you go over to Settings, and you come down here to Dashboards. And I have a number of dashboards already set up. That's fine. If you click on, go over here to Add Dashboard, it'll give you an option to create a number of different dashboards. You can do a scratch dashboard, overview, and areas, which is another new dashboard that they're also working on, which is experimental. And then this is the new one called the Home Dashboard. So we'll click on that, and it's going to create a new Home Dashboard. Now you can type in whatever you want to name the dashboard, and then you can just create it right here. Also, by the way, you can show it in sidebar. You can set it to admin only. Now I've already got a dashboard created, so I won't actually go through this process. I'll just go straight to my dashboard. Because I have it shown in the sidebar over here, I'll just go over to my demo dash and kind of show you what it is. Now there's 3 or 4 areas that they have automatically set up. There's a summary section here that has 4 different areas in it: your lighting, your climate, your security, and then any kind of media players. And they do this because this is probably the most common set of devices that you'll interact with in Home Assistant. The next layer or next level are areas. All of these are the different areas that you have set up within your Home Assistant instance, or you have defined within your Home Assistant instance, and any of the devices that are in these rooms. So if I click on the studio, for example, it's going to take me to a section of the dashboard that has all my studio entities in it. I'm going to come back to these entities here in a second. The third level is the the weather. So they add a weather card, which is one of the default weather cards. And they also add the energy card. So if you have a weather entity configured for forecasting and whatnot, you'll see the information here. And then any kind of energy stuff you have on this one as well. Now, if you don't have something like the energy distribution stuff set up in your Home Assistant, or don't have any devices reporting energy, it'll probably look something like this. This is my demo or my development Home Assistant yellow, and it doesn't have any energy stuff tied to it currently. So here's the card, but there's no information flowing on here because there's nothing set up. But if you do have something, it'll show something like this. And if you have incoming solar power, other kinds of distribution or energy generation, it'll probably show up on here as well. All right, so this is really what the Home Dashboard looks like today as of this video recording. It's very plain or very simple. The only things you can do with this dashboard currently, again, as of this video, is if you want to edit it, there's a feature they have, and let me get out of the way. There's an edit dashboard feature, just like all the other dashboards. But when you click on edit, it doesn't let you edit the dashboard itself. All it does is it gives you the ability to add favorite entities. So if I wanted to add something, media fan, for example. If I want the media fan to be a favorite on my main dashboard, that's going to pop up here now. So you can set all your different favorites up at the top of this dashboard. So now you have 4 sections: your favorites, your summaries, your areas, and then these cards that they'll be adding, such as weather and energy distribution. So the media fan, let's say you go into the lights summary page. Now here's all my lights. That thing at the top where you did your favorites is not on this page. So if you go in here and edit the dashboard, you'll notice it's already here. If I add something like, living room fan, for example. I'm just using fans because they're easy to remember. Living room fan. Let's do that one. Save it. It doesn't show up here in any of the sub levels of the dashboard. But if you go back over here to the main, now it's over here. So you can edit the dashboard from any of the other dashboard sections. But when you add a favorite, it's going to show up on this main dashboard section here. Now, if you want to get rid of one of these, back to edit dashboard, and you can just delete it this way and save it, and it goes away here. Now, here's one thing I want to talk about with these dashboards, both the area dashboard and this dashboard here that auto-populate entities. If you've been running Home Assistant for as long as I have, you probably have some abandoned entities or things that no longer work, and I have quite a few of them. What this is doing for me is highlighting how badly I have not maintained my entity list in Home Assistant. So if I just kind of float through here, I'm going to go through each one of these and we're going to find something that doesn't exactly work the way it should be. So I have a Roku in the living room. It auto-populated all the entities on the Roku device into this dashboard. This is kind of a thing that I'm going to use as some feedback for Home Assistant is maybe don't auto-populate unavailable devices right away, or figure out a way to filter these out bulk through the settings or whatever, because what I have to do now, and maybe this is a task for cleanup, but on an unavailable device, this is because the Roku is turned off. If you have a Roku stick or something like that, it's powered by the USB port of a TV, it'll show unavailable until you turn the TV on. So if I click on this and I go into settings here, in order to get rid of this, I actually have to change this from visible to not visible. I don't care if and let me see what I'm doing here. Actually, that's one I want to leave that one, but I want to get rid of the headphones because I don't care in Home Assistant to tell me whether the headphones are connected to the Roku or not. So if I click on visible, update it, and it'll tell me down here the dashboard's been updated. It gets rid of it. I have to basically go through every one of these devices that are on here that show some sort of issue and either delete them because they're not supposed to be there, they're a dead entity, or hide them from the dashboard. So auto-populating things, like here's an example. All of these here, the lamp here, for whatever reason, this lamp seems to have a whole bunch of extra stuff assigned to it that doesn't really exist for the lamp. So I have to go through here and hide all of these devices so they don't show up on my dashboard anymore. So while the home dashboard auto population is a nice feature, you can get into trouble with it if you have many, many devices that show hidden entities or invisible entities or entities you don't want to see that don't actually do anything. You're going to have to manually get rid of those. So I'd love a bulk way to remove that kind of stuff if it's available. I'm still looking for an entity that doesn't actually exist anywhere. And I think I've cleaned up most of this stuff, so I won't be able to show you. But what it does show you is stuff that you just need to get rid of. So I have two different devices here. Yeah, they're the same one. And this is another thing. This is called study stick here. This is the Roku for the study. If I look at related, I've got device study stick, Roku study stick. And I think they're both the same thing. So if I hide, so it's a media player because it's a Roku. If I hide this one, let's see what happens to the other one. Okay, so it gets rid of the one. So again, it's auto-populating all of these entities that are in your Home Assistant instance, and it may not be something you want to auto-populate. It is still a good starting point, especially if you have a brand new setup, because then you may not have as many of these outliers as I do, that you won't have to go clean up later on. I still do want to find something that shouldn't exist in here. Maybe I've cleaned everything up. This is interesting why it's not available. Let me see why it's not available. Device info. Okay, so here's another interesting example. This front door lock is the actual lock, but this front door lock JS is a switch of some sort. And it's the one showing I believe that's unavailable. So if I go here and I hide this one, am I going to be able to see that I have a lock? See, and these things here don't make sense. So here's the front door lock under security. Here's the entity types or attributes that are under the front door lock JS entity, which is this lock right here. Currently alarm type 21, alarm level 1. That basically tells me the door is locked. If I were to unlock the door, I would suspect that the alarm type would change to something else. Alarm level would change to something else, and it did. So it's now unlocked. Alarm type is 25. Alarm level is 1. So again, all you care about is the front door lock, but you have all of these extra attributes that get populated in a different area of the dashboard that you have to go back and remove. And by the way, let's see if I can make this bigger for you. When you're hiding these entities, it tells you here that if you hide them, they will not be included in auto-populated dashboards or when their area, device, or label is referenced. Their history is still tracked and you can still interact with them with action. So you can still do stuff with them. They're just hidden on auto-populated dashboards. So anyway, just be aware of that. That's what this actually does. So I click on update, gets rid of that. And then again, I'm going to do it for this one. Now it's gone. So now for the front hall, the things that it should have are front door lock. And this light here is actually a plug that's just unplugged right now, but it's sometimes available. So that's the other thing. If you have stuff that you don't typically have plug in all the time, like holiday lighting controls and stuff like that, that's another thing you'll have to worry about. So that's point one. The other point is if you go to areas in your Home Assistant instance, this is how you can add these areas. And I have all these different areas. I actually went through and cleaned up a few that I didn't need anymore. But then you can go in here and you can look at what's in each individual area just to clean it up. So if I look at the outside, there's one device. Holiday number 2 is this is not available yet because it's something I only put on during holidays. Or if we look at the front yard, these are cameras. I've got some lights, some more lights, some more lights. So these are all the lights that are outside in the front yard. And so you can tailor this stuff to the areas. And then if you go to entities, you can do a lot of different stuff here. You can filter by area here as well and look at the different areas. So again, front yard, I can see all the different entities. If something here shows up in an area that shouldn't be here anymore, and it shows that it's status, and we can filter on status, let's say unavailable. These are all the items in the front yard that are unavailable that I might want to I'll get rid of this. There we go. That I might want to do something with. Front doorbell, those are all good. Firmware, holiday lights, all that's fine. So you're going to have to go through your entities if you have all of this stuff set up. And if you're auto-populating these dashboards like this, you'll need to set up the entities so that they'll all populate properly and be in the right places on the dashboard. So entities, devices need to be in the proper area. I always thought that was kind of a who cared thing before. And now they're using areas so much more in all of the auto population and auto setup of things in Home Assistant that it's become very important that you set entities when you add something. And then of course, if you have stuff that doesn't exist anymore or unavailable or attributes of things, you'll have to go auto hide those. All right, so those are the two things I want to talk about with two things. Those are the many things I want to talk about with the dashboard. So again, let's just take a look at what the dashboard looks like overall, just to give you a good view of this. This is something I added manually, and then these are the 4 areas that are summary sections they put on, and then all of your areas you've defined, and then of course these 2 different informational cards down here. Now I do want to talk about briefly the where's it at? Let me get the demo. There we go. These are the new tile card features. I'm gonna pick on just 4 different ones. Everything else, there's other things that I don't have, like valve controls and stuff like that. I don't have, so I don't demonstrate those. But here's 4 of the different items you can now do with tile cards. And if you want to add a tile card, we'll just go to edit here. And we want to add a card. I'll just pick a tile card, and then I can do, let's do a kitchen, if I can find it quickly, kitchen temperature. Here's a temperature from something. I don't know what it is, but I have it named elsewhere. So here's a temperature tile card. We're using a tile card to display a temperature. So under here, I'm going to choose, I'm just give it the name temp, and then leave everything else the same. Now you have a choice of default or vertical, and this will make a difference below. What you have now under the features section is you have the ability, depending on the card type, to actually add a feature. So in this case, for temperatures, I can add a trend graph, and that's what you're seeing right here is that trend graph. Now, if I choose to put the trend graph in line, it'll put it to the right of the entity information. I can also make that vertical if I do it that way. If I do oh, no, I can't. Actually, if I change this to vertical, it takes away the ability to make it inline. So it will be automatically horizontal. If I want to go inline, I'll have to leave it as horizontal. If I want to go bottom, I can choose it vertical, or I can keep it horizontal. The only difference between that is horizontal keeps the entity information over here, and horizontal obviously stacks it horizontally. And then that also determines how you can do your layouts and stuff on here. So if your visibility settings are still here, and I'm not sure I have the ability here to do layouts. Interesting. All right, so that's a way to add a card here. You can also, I was showing you the wrong board, but that's how you do that. If I look at this other board, this is the sections board. This is actually the board where you can do a little bit more with the layout. So that same card we just talked about, a temperature card, I've changed the features down here to bottom, and the content is going to be horizontal. So everything sits like that. And then you can change the layout. The layout will depend on the type of card content you choose, as well as the features position. So vertical automatically gives you the option for making it wide, but it's going to be a minimum of 3 units tall. You go that route, but you can go down to 1 unit wide if you want to on that. And then if you go with horizontal, you have different layout options here for this as well. The minimum is 6 units to the right and 2 units, I believe. Let's try it again. 2 units is the minimum. You can stretch it out. So 2 deep or 2 high and 6 wide is that for that. So you can experiment with the different layouts, different feature positions and all of that. And of course, there's the horizontal versus vertical inline position. You can only do it this way. And then for layout on this one, your minimum is 12 units and 1 unit high. And if we save that, we can see what we look like here. So that's one feature you have for temperature. If you have something like a battery, something else like that, you can go with a feature called a bar gauge. So this one can do trend and bar. You can do them both if you want to. If you do them in line, you're only going to see the one on the top. So you could switch it here. There's no point in having it if you only can see one. And then you have the bottom here. If we do content, we change the content to vertical, and we can't do inline. So you're going to have a trend line, and you're going to have this as well, the bar gauge. So you can play around with all of that, but I like the bar gauge for batteries. It looks nice. And that's what it looks like here. And then you have another option for doing like a toggle. There's a feature called toggle. Now, this one I'm not quite sure about, and let's look at the blog post for this one. Scroll down to buttons. It allows you to do this custom text right here. And either I have the wrong button or the wrong type, but it says you can do this for automation, scripts, and button entities. When I look at the button here, I don't have the option for that. So I might be using the wrong kind of item here. It doesn't give me the option for custom text. I didn't find it anywhere. So I'm not sure what that is. If you know what that is, how to do that, just put it a comment down below, because that didn't work for me. Toggle might be a feature that's automatic anyway. So nothing new there. And then we have this option to do stuff with the fans. If you have a fan that can do reverse control, you can do speed, fan speed preset and toggle, but you do have the option, according to this, to do a fan direction and oscillation. Now, neither one of those I have available to me in my fan control, so that's probably why it doesn't show up, but that is an option in the new tile cards. Like I said, some of the ones I don't have a valve open and closing control position. Then you can also set the date for specific things. So it allows you to add a feature that allows for setting a date if you wanted to. So I just wanted to go through briefly some of the new dashboard stuff, my initial thoughts. Just remember that my camera still messes up after all this time. I haven't figured out how to stop my camera from resetting and filming in the middle of a video. If you know how to deal with this, I have a Logitech camera that I'm using right now, which, you know, it's cheap, but it works. It keeps resetting my settings in the middle of me recording, usually when I mess with browsers. I went through the browsers, I set all the camera stuff off, and yet it still does this. So put in the comments or Discord, tell me how to fix this, because oh my gosh, is it annoying. Now let me fix the zoom while we're doing it. I'll just do it live. I'm going to fix the zoom problem that I have right now. Oop, that's not the right button. There we go. Let's go to zoom like that. That was fun, wasn't it? Yeah, if you know how to fix that, keep my Logitech camera from resetting when I mess with browsers and other stuff, please tell me, because oh boy, I'm tired of it. Oh, anyway, what I was saying was that's what the overview of the home dashboard. It is a brand new experimental feature. I don't expect it to have a lot right now. There's a lot they're going to continue to do according to what they're saying, and we'll see how it evolves. Right now, it's just a good starting point for things, and that's about all it is. You can't do much with it except look at it. If you have a few entities, it probably works okay. If you have hundreds with many areas, maybe not so much. And let me just point out one more thing that I did not say about that. Once I get out of this, if I go over to that dashboard, when I go to something like lights, it puts everything in all these different groupings for the area it's in. So you still have the area option or the area view here. But if you have a random stuff, like let's look at the studio. I've got a few things over here, some stuff over here, some stuff crammed down here. This is, it's not good, not nice to me, because it just has a lot of dead space. I want this to be over here. It just doesn't line up, and I haven't tried it on mobile. Maybe it looks better on mobile, but if it doesn't work on desktop, it's not going to be a good fit for me either, because I use a lot of stuff on desktop. Anyway, forgot to point that out, but I assume it will evolve more and become better and better. Most of the stuff that they work on, or pretty much all of it, gets better over time. So I'm looking forward to that and seeing how the home dashboard will do that. Okay, quick video on home dashboard and tile cards. That's some stuff that came out in the September 2025 release of Home Assistant. Go play around with it. See what you think. Throw me some comments. Throw me some Discord comments as well. And yeah, have fun. With that, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.